Before I start this review, let me say that I am not sponsored by Camp Chef. They don't know who I am. I paid for each one of these stoves. The Everest 2, the Teton 2X, and the Everest 2X. All three of them I paid for with my own money. This is a completely unbiased review. We're going to do a boil test. We're going to do flame control tests. We're going to measure everything. But this is the Camp Chef versus Camp Chef versus Camp Chef review video. Stay with me. It's going to get a little busy here, but we're going to go through each one of these. This is the Teton. We'll open it. We'll definitely open it up and do some comparisons. This is the Camp Chef 2X, which I no longer see on Camp Chef's website, so I'm assuming that the Teton is replacing the 2. Did I say 2X? This is a 2. Everest 2. Because this... Oh my... Can you see me? This is the Everest 2X. So we're going to run through each one of them, and then we're going to talk about some differences. At the very end, I'll tell you which one I think is the best for the type of camping you might do. So stick around. Here we go. So the first one we're going to take a peek at is the Camp Chef Teton 2X. And I'll talk primarily about the differences between this one and the Everest 2, which you can still get on Amazon. First and foremost, let's talk about pricing before we even look at any of these. I just looked on Amazon. They're all priced almost the same. So the Everest 2, I'll put a picture here, is $169 today. The Everest 2X, the bigger one, is $171 today. And this guy that I'm holding here, the Teton, is $159. So actually this is the cheapest one by $10. Again, these prices are going to vary. I got an Everest 2 6 or 8 months ago for like $69 or $79. They were on sale. Again, I kind of think that because Camp Chef doesn't have it on their website anymore, the Everest 2 is kind of going out the way and is being replaced by this one. Hey, if you like this kind of content, do me a really, really big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you've never been here before, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more videos like this where I do product reviews. Or, of course, if you're familiar with our channel, you know my wife Edie. She does a ton of cooking videos, outdoor cooking type videos. It does feature the Omnia oven. She's got a cookbook, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Let's concentrate on this. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just cover measurements, right? Of course, you can go to the Camp Chef website or you can look on Amazon. They have listed measurements, right? I like to use one of these things and give you a rough estimate. So this Teton 2X, roughly 22. If I go kind of the edge to edge, 22 long. If we use the corners, let's say 13 wide. And let's call that just shy of 5 inches thick. In comparison, I have the Everest 2 here, a little bit smaller, a little bit wider, 23 on the long side, 11.5 on the wide side, and on the height, 4.5 versus the Teton, which is like closer to 5. And then of course, I'll show you the Everest 2X and give you those outside measurements. So here's the big daddy. This is the Everest 2X. And let's give him a measure real quick. It's definitely the biggest of the three. 24.5 wide, again, ish. 1 foot or 12 inches on the wide side. And let's say 5.5 on the thick side. This is definitely the biggest one of the three. So let's talk about the exterior, first of all, of the Teton 2X. Very much similar shape to the Everest 2X versus the 2. Very similar. It's got that indented, see how it comes this way, and it kind of indents. You have your knobs here, piezo lighter, you got your two knobs, and it comes and it flares back out. This one, similar to the 2X, has these metal clamps, where the Everest 2 has the little plastic clips in the front. On the bottom, you can see that these little corners are raised, and that'll give some heat dissipation here. And then you can see all of them have these handles. And this one, it feels fine. It doesn't feel that sharp on the inside. I've heard people complain about that sharpness. And when you buy one of these, it's basically the stove, a booklet, and the propane. I always forget the name of the propane thing. I'll put it right here. Regulator. Thank you. When you compare the Everest 2, again, this is the older model. This one has the front plastic clips. And there's no indentation, so your knobs are kind of like, they're kind of sticking out, whereas you see here, this is recessed. That's the word I'm looking for. More or less the same. This is a little bit longer. If we look at the bottom, has, I guess we'll call them feet. It's part of the material. But as long as any stove or oven, I should say, is raised, you get some of that heat dissipation. And again, the piezo lighter is on this side. This is, I've been using this one for a couple of years, so if I show you the back end, right, some of that is coming off. I can see some bubbling here. I've had this, let's say 4 years, and you can see some rusting here. Still works fine. Let's make that comparison with the big one. So this one is a little bit more similar to the Teton. Recessed. The piezo is like this instead of the push button. Recessed knobs, so on and so forth. It's got the metal clips here, same as the Teton. And very much like the Teton, it's got the corners are raised. And again, that'll leave you some room for the heat to dissipate. So that covers the three of these guys on the outside. Let's open her up, shall we? Is that? Yeah, you could see that. Metal clips on either side. This is what she looks like on the inside, right? All stainless. You've got the wind flaps here and here. Sorry about the noise. And they go into these little slots that those same clips that hold it together will clamp down. It clamps down right here. And that is also the same on the Everest 2X. Same wind blockers, same clamps. Stainless all around. 2 burners. On the Teton 2X, 10K and 10K. Here's the big difference. On the Everest 2 and the Everest 2X, 20K and 20K. That is a big difference. If we compare grate surface, right? So not here, but the actual size of the grate. We go 10 inches this way and 17 3/4 this way. It's pretty much almost the same. This is the grate from the Everest 2, and this one's a little bit longer, about a 1/2 inch, maybe to 1 inch. Let's measure it real quick. I'm gonna lean this here. So that's 10 inches. And the long way is like 18.5. So it's a little bit, yeah. So the Everest 2 is definitely longer. We can do a quick comparison with the Everest 2X. Hold on a moment. And if you can see right here, this is the Grate from the Everest 2X. You can see how much bigger it is. I mean, it's significantly longer. That's at 20 inches, 20 and change. And the width is still the same, 10 inches. But your overall length, that's about 19.5 to 20. So certainly more surface area on the Everest 2X. This is the Everest 2, and you can see again the clips are different. When I open this guy up, his wind blockers are different as well. So this is a little bit more like the old style where the kind of clips on the side, like that, and like that. So I think the wind blockers on the Teton 2X and the Everest 2X are better. Of course, they're bigger, and they are better. And that being said, 20K and 20K. We're going to do water ball tests as well on all three of these. So if I just compare these side by side here, that's what the 2 looks like. Look at that shiny Teton 2X. And if we're making comparisons, right? So here's your Everest 2X. This is the big unit. Again, 20K burners on either side. That's your Everest 2. 20K burners on either side. And you can see the difference. Again, the flaps. Everest 2X has the flaps on the side for the wind. And if we come over here, that's the Teton 2X. One thing you can notice, where the flame comes out, these all have removable, I forget there's a name for these two, and I always forget the name, but the Everest 2 has it, the Everest 2X has it. I think they certainly help with blocking the wind. Interestingly enough, the Teton 2X does not have those flame, I don't know what to call them. It'll be in the description below or here. Ding! Which will definitely block the flame. So I think that's one disadvantage to the Teton 2X. So again, just a quick tour. And you can see that's the Everest 2. That's the Teton 2X. And that is the Everest 2X. All three lined up. You can see I've never actually used the Teton 2X. Let's check it out with some pots and pans. For demonstration purposes, I have a 10-inch pot, an 8-inch pot, and a 5-inch pot. So this is what it looks like, the Everest 2. Plenty of room with your wind blockers on either side. The same could be said, let's move this over here. The same could be said of the Teton. Let's make sure. Plenty of room. I am centered right over the flame. Plenty of room there. And as you would expect, let's move this here. As you would expect, more than ample space. Again, 10-inch pot, 8-inch pot. More than ample space on the Everest 2X. All right, let's have some fun. I have a 14-inch pan here. I have a 12-inch pan here and a 10-inch pan here. Now, I'm going to do this twice, right? One with the flaps up and one with the flaps down. So here we are with the Everest 2 with the big 14-inch pan. And if I take the 10-inch, he's just about going to make it on there. He's not exactly centered. Same thing here. I can kind of push him off to the side. Actually, nope, he's not going to fit. Remember we said the Everest 2 was a little bit wider than this guy. So if you were to use this giant pan, maybe you'd want to go here and you're just making it fit with a 12 and a 10. However, you can remove these flaps. You see, none of them will actually fit together. But let's go around. I'll take all of these off, and then we'll see what it looks like. If you're using big pans like this, the only way to really use them is to take the wind flaps and put them down. You can see how they fold on the Teton 2X and they fold on the Everest 2X. Over here, they just kind of sit out on the Everest. But you can see a 14-inch pan that's centered and a 10-inch pan that's centered on the Teton 2X. If I replace that, not so much centered. You could still do it. I don't know how many people actually use a big giant one like this. I think this seems more realistic to cook with a 12-inch and a 10-inch. So that's on the Teton 2X. Same thing, you got a little bit more breathing room because this is a wider unit. This is the Everest 2X, 12-inch, 10-inch. And then if we come over here, let's take the smaller one. So that's the 14-inch sitting with the 10-inch. So you could do it with this guy. If we take this one here, yeah, you can get by. And this is the Everest 2X. So that's what the 3 pans look like. Hopefully you guys find a little value in that. I'm going to go return these to my wife right now. To demonstrate the actual use of the stove itself, turning them on, trying the piezo lighters, we're going to use a standard 1-pound bottle of Coleman propane. I don't normally use this. We carry a 2.5 or a 5. And so that's how we cook, but since these are very popular and they certainly are saving space, we're going to test all 3 using a 1-pounder. So here I have the Everest 2 hooked up to the propane, and let's turn on that guy. He fires up right away. Let's turn on this guy. He fires up right away. And let's see, let's try to bring these down a little bit. The one thing I like about Camp Chef gear is the flame control, or some people call it simmer control, right? These guys, this guy's still on, barely on, and it's windy here. He might blow out. But the simmer control on this too is phenomenal. They're both still on. You probably can't see it. I don't know if you could see that or not. But the flame control is fantastic. And these are wide open. So if you're boiling water, you're putting your coffee on, it's very nice to have 20K and 20K BTUs on either side. Let's go over to the Teton 2X and do the same thing. All right, here we are with the Teton 2X. Oddly enough, I used the same regulator from the 2 on this one, so I didn't even open up the regulator for this guy, but the propane is hooked up. Let's turn that on. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Interesting. Now there is some wind blowing this way. That is interesting. And now they're both on. So there you go. This is the first time I've ever used one of these. Maybe it's a regulator issue, or maybe because it's brand spanking new and this is the first time that this has ever been lit. Some of the gas had to get in there. I don't know. I mean, it sounded like the gas was on. So that's pretty weird. Let's, before we try a flame control test, let's turn those off. Turn them back on. Interesting. 4th time. Let's see if it's a wind issue. Let's put the cover up. Covers are up. Let's try it again. Interesting. Not so much. Wow, interesting. All right, I have one more test to do, and that is to take the regulator that came with this unit and try it with that. But while we're here, let's try the flame control here. That's low. That's pretty low. That's very low. You guys, I know you can't see it, but it's still on. Wow, excellent flame control. Yeah, Camp Chef is so good with their flame control. So that's good news. I don't know about that Piezo lighter, but let's change out the regulator. Shiny new regulator, just out of the bubble wrap. So this is what we're going to try. I'll hook it up, and we'll see if that makes a difference. All right, let's try that again. So I put the cover back down. Let's open up the gas. Now that we have the regulator that came with the unit, let's see. Wow. Well, there might be a lesson learned. They both fired up at the same time. Let's try it again. Let's try one. No, maybe not. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that left one is still not lighting. Let's turn that off. Let's put the cover back up. Cover up. Yeah, okay. So it's a good test because there is wind. I'm standing here in my backyard. It's been raining for 2 days here in Florida, and it's windy. So there's your answer. Maybe not so great using the Piezo lighter in the wind. Of course, you and I both know that it's very easy to use a regular lighter. And that's actually how I never use these things. Maybe my wife uses it, but I never use them. I use a lighter. So maybe that's a knock on the Teton 2X. That's for you to decide. I personally don't think it's a big deal, but you should also get what you pay for. I do also want to point out, these do not have the little wind blockers like you have these. And again, there's a name for them. But these do not have that. Interesting. Okay, I've got the Everest 2X here hooked up to the propane. I have the cover down, and there is some wind. And he fires up. And he fires. Boy, you could really hear the difference, huh? Interesting. And again, the flame control on this guy is stellar. It's still on. Still on? Is it on? Yes. And again, these things are protecting from the wind, so I don't even need to put the cover up. That's the Everest 2X flame test. Let's do a boil test. Okay, for the boil test, we're going to use this little 5-inch pan, and we're going to fill it up to 1 quart. And then I'm going to turn the heat up on this guy as high as it will go, and we'll set a timer, and we'll see how long it takes to boil 1 quart of water. Now, of course, this isn't a crazy scientific test, but I am using garden hose water, so it's going to be the same water temperature for everything. I have this guy hooked up to exactly 1 quart, and I'm going to turn him on high, and I'm going to let it fly. And now we're going to start a timer. Let's get that timer going. Here we go. Be back when it's boiled. And just so you know, to make this a fair test, I'm leaving the cover down, nothing on either side. So any wind that's here would be like simulating camping. Maybe it's windy where you are. Maybe it's not. But I'm in the backyard. There's wind. So we're not going to put the cover or the side flaps up for any of them. While that boil test is happening, I'll stop here and also mention that Camp Chef does have these Mountain Series bags, and these will fit all three, the Everest 2X, the Everest 2, and the Teton. These are like, I don't know, $34 online. I've got 2 of them. I actually don't have 3, so maybe I'll order one as well. But it fits all the bags, and it's a pretty nice material. It hasn't ripped or anything. The zippers are holding up. So, yeah. I mean, maybe that's pricey. I don't know. All 3 of these products, everything you see me using here, there'll be a link in the description below. So we're 2 minutes and 21 seconds into our boil test. Would you guys call that a full boil? Under 4 minutes. I'd say your coffee is going to be pretty hot. All right, let's dump that water, let the pan cool down, and then we'll do the Everest 2. Okay, boil test number 2. Let's open her all the way up and start. I did let this cool down. Took 5 minutes to cool down maybe to try to make the test as accurate. And again, that's 1 quart of water. And that is opened up as far as it can go. Be back in a few. So here we are coming up. We just passed the 4-minute mark. And I think we're just at our boil point here. I know if I'm doing pour over coffee, that's boiled water for me. So let's call it 425, 415. I will say that the wind maybe had an effect on this particular test. It's a little bit windier, but let's call it 415. All right, we're going to do the Everest Teton 2X next. Let this pan cool down, pot cool down, and we'll do another test, the last boil test. Okay, for our last boil test, we're using the Teton 2X. Same 1 quart, and I'm touching it, no problem, it's cooled down. So let's fire this guy up. Yeah. Let's open them up all the way and start the clock. Be back when the test is over. I also do want to say that this is a 10K BTU burner, 10 and 10, whereas the other 2 were 20. So I expect this to take longer. Plus, there are no wind blockers around where that flame comes out. So I expect this to take longer, but we'll see. We're at the 5-minute mark and not quite boiling just yet. Okay, here we are at 7:45, and I would call that a boil. So an additional 3.5 to 4 minutes on the boil with the Teton 2X. Again, just to remind folks, it's 10K BTU burner on either side, and there's no flame protector around where the flame comes out. So it will take a little bit longer to boil your water with a Teton 2X. So we've gone through everything. We've done the boil test, we measured everything, we tested the piezo lighters on all 3. We used each of the 3 stoves, and now I guess you're maybe curious about what I think. All 3 of them are good. I think there is a difference in the BTU of the burner sizes. The Everest 2 and the Everest 2X all have 20,000 BTUs on each side, whereas the Teton 2X is 10K on each side. Right now, again, if you were watching right now, the Teton 2X is $10 less money than the Everest 2 and $15 less than the Everest 2X. Now, don't quote me on this, but when I go to Camp Chef's website, I can no longer find the Everest 2. I can find it on Amazon, and if you can find it on Amazon, there has been a time where I was able to purchase one of these for like $70 or $69, and I do have another one sealed in a box. So if you can find these, if in fact Camp Chef isn't making them anymore, if you can find one of these and get a $70 deal, I would jump on that right away. As far as which one is the best, I think it comes down to how you camp, right? I mean, they're all similar in weight, between 10 and 12 pounds. They're all similar in size. The 2X is actually the widest one, whereas the Everest 2 is the widest one. The 2X is actually the biggest one. It's got the most surface area on its grate. I think the biggest difference in these 3 is the BTUs, where the Grand Teton, The Teton 2X is 10K BTUs on either side, where these two guys are 20K. And that does make a difference. It will take you 35% longer to make boiling water on the Teton. Also on the Teton, it does not have flame protectors around where the flame comes in. It's a little cup that will block some of the wind, right? I called it a flame protector. It's really a wind protector, sorry. And that is the main difference between really the three. The older model, the Everest 2, has the plastic clips in the front and is not recessed, so maybe these knobs can get hit. You know, if you're banging around your stuff, where the Everest 2X and the Teton 2X, they kind of have this recessed area here. Also, the Everest 2X and the Teton 2X, they have these metal clips here on the side, where this is the plastic clips. They all have a handle underneath. Some people prefer a handle over here. I have a carrying case, so that's how I like to protect my, my stoves, with the carrying case. If I had to choose one, and only one, today, I would probably go with the Everest 2. It's the longest of the three, so I can go with the widest pans I have. It's 20K on either side. I don't care about the plastic clips. I take care of my gear. Again, I keep it in a bag. Also, these wind blockers are not as good as the other two, but if you can find this for under $100, I think this is the way to go. And if at some point these are gone, I am going with the Everest 2X all day. I think there's a big difference in the burners. You notice that the Piezo lighter on the Teton was spotty, and if you're a fan of the Piezo lighter rather than using a regular lighter, we definitely had some trouble with that. I'm going Camp Chef Everest 2X all day, especially when these run out. It's the beefiest. It is definitely the heaviest by 2 pounds, and it is the largest one. But if you're maybe a glamping camper, or you have room in your camper for something like this, this is the way to go. So that is the entire video. If you stayed till the very end, boy, I do appreciate you. I spent a lot of time doing this video. I enjoy it, and I really do love the Camp Chef products. I have a giant 3-burner here in the backyard for when we do a lot of cooking for company. We love to cook outside rather than cooking on the inside of the house. But if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into this, do me a favor, hit that like button, share the video with other people that you know are either looking for a stove or are interested in the Camp Chef items. Share the video, hit the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. I have more gear reviews to come later this year. And that's really it. Again, I'm Stu Beans with the Little House of Beans. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.